If you've been trying to emotionally regulate because you have these past hurts that keep on echoing and coming up for you and really holding you in this kind of prisoner state, then this video is for you. I'm going to help you do that. And I'm going to help release that in you in a few minutes. Hi, if you're new to me, my name is Raquel, and I'm your GPS for success. I'm doing a 21-day series called Made for More, which is focusing on your identity. So why is this important? Because we're not going to go any farther than how we see and feel about ourselves. And when we have these past hurts kind of trapping us in loops, trapping us in cycles, trapping us in our emotions, then we are not really living out the life that we've been created to live. It is part of Soul Prosperity. The best-selling book in the world tells us that you will prosper. You will prosper and be in health as your soul, which is your mind, your will, and your emotions prosper. And when we are regurgitating the past, we're trying to figure out maybe the how. We have, we've been through things that people have disappointed us, have hurt us, have betrayed us. When those things happen, especially around betrayal, we then have to look at ourselves like, how did I not see that? Was I dumb? And then you're afraid to maybe love again. Maybe you're afraid to do new relationships. Maybe, it really starts to activate fear in you. And I want to guide you through the release of that. And before I start, I just want to encourage you to go ahead and get the free stuff below. The first thing you're going to see is a link that's going to give you, it says Activate Abundance Audit. And it's going to be a guide to activate abundance in your life, in any area of your life. The framework works for anything. So go ahead and grab that below. You'll also see a link that's going to take you to my BMAC page, and it's going to have all 21 video links on there so you can see them in order. So if you're seeing this out of the timeline or out of order, it doesn't matter. Everything's kind of a standalone, but it does connect together. So if you want to see the whole series, that's below. And then the last series I did is around manifestation and Jesus lovers. What's woo-woo, what's not woo-woo, what's actually science, and a lot of things that you might hear, you might think that maybe it's new age, but actually it's not. It's just actually the way we're wired to succeed. And I back that up with neuroscience and with scripture. So if you're interested in that series, you go ahead and check that below. But for this particular topic around identity, it is so important, right? We're told in the good book to, leave behind those things in the past. And you're like, okay, that's easier said than done. So what's actually happening? So I want to walk you through it really quick before we do the exercise to help release that. And what happens is that, you have this high emotional event that happens. And because that happened in your life, right? In that moment, depending on the thoughts that you were taking, it changed your belief system. And so now that belief system becomes your filter. And that filter then is driving your actions. So how does it happen? Because then when something comes up, you're going to take a thought about it. But now the thought that you're taking is through the filter of the hurt. It's through the filter of that past pain. And then because of the thought that you're taking that is filtered through the pain, that then activates emotions, and it can make you freeze, it can make you fawn, it can make you run, it can make you angry, it can make you sad, it can make you procrastinate, it can delay you moving forward because now you're unsure of yourself. There's so many emotions, especially women. We can hold like 5 different emotions, contradictory ones too at the same time. So we can be having all these emotions, and then based on those emotions, we're going to act or not act, and then we're having outcomes. So what do? It's soul, it's mind, your will, and your emotions. And so through the act of your will is your director. You can choose to do something like this. You can choose and that's why you're here, is that you don't want to feel that way anymore. So like, how do you get past that? And it's not really and that's the truth, you're not really getting past it. You're learning to really be emotionally free around it, so it no longer holds you prisoner. We're told that the truth will set you free, and that's actually not what it says. It's not true. It's not the truth that sets you free. It's the truth that you know in a very intimate way, that you really connect to, that you embody, that sets you free. And if it's the truth that sets you free, then it's a lie that keeps you captive. And there are lies that you believe around that event that it has been keeping you captive, and today you're going to be set free from that. I'm going to do an exercise with you, and you're just going to repeat after me. I'm going to use a technique called an emotional freedom technique. And the emotional freedom technique is something that I do with my clients. It's something that I do with my membership, and it's very, very effective. And the reason it works so well is because we start to confront the things that we don't like. And the people who do this with me, especially my one-on-one clients, or even my members when we do it together, they always say the same thing, that it feels magical to them. Now, is it magic? No, but that's like the closest language that they have to explain it, because they don't have the language for like the relief. You're going to get instant relief from this. And that is important, because if what happens is that when you're in this high emotional state, now all these, that's the way you're wired, all these juicy chemicals that our brain is creating goes to your frontal cortex, and then it drops down your IQ 15 points. And so what is an IQ? Your IQ is not about how intelligent you are. It's about the speed of being able to receive and understand data. That's what it is. That's all it is. I remember hearing that from a doctor that I was in a seminar. I was like, oh, I love the way that she explained it, because whether you have a high IQ or you have a low IQ, you're not dumb because you're having, or even an average IQ, right? The average IQ is 100. And if it's a little lower, it's 85. And so people might think, well, I only have an average IQ. That means I'm not smart. That's not true. It's only the speed of which you are actually taking in and understanding data. That's it. That's it. So that kind of like levels the playing field. But what happens is that whether you have a higher IQ, you can process data faster or slower, right? You're not slow, you're just slower than other people. Then you're already at a diminished capacity for thinking, and thinking is your gift. Thinking is what sets you apart, and thinking is actually what creates the outcomes. So you couldn't help what, for the most part, people do things, right? And not maybe me. Sometimes we have a hand in it, sometimes we don't. And where in that scenario you fall in, if you contributed to that or not. But it doesn't matter. It happened. It was a circumstance that happened that was unpleasant, that maybe was unfair. And now, the memories are kind of like trapped in your subconscious. It's in your heart. It's in the community of your cells. And so when something happens, right, it's dropping your IQ, if you're remembering, and now you can't see the answers that are in front of you. But this is an answer that has been put in front of you because this is what God wants for you. He wants you to be free because it isn't impacting your identity. And again, you're not going to go any farther than how you see and feel about yourself. And when these things happen, especially betrayal, right, we start to then turn that against ourselves. Like, how did I not see that coming? How did I not see that in that person? I was gullible, I was foolish, and what's coming to mind is a song from Margaret Becker that and the chorus says, it's never for nothing when you love with no return. It's never for nothing. I'm very empathic, so I'm connected to somebody right now. It's never for nothing. Light your candle in the darkness, because it's never for nothing. Love is the strongest motivator, and you were not foolish for loving that person. You're never more like God than when you forgive. And sometimes it's hard to forgive, and sometimes people mistake forgiveness with restoration. What gets restored is you. What gets restored is your soul. What gets restored is your heart through the act of forgiveness. And in the best-selling book in the world, when the disciples are asking for more faith, it wasn't for more faith or things. It was around forgiveness, because you might need more faith sometimes to forgive somebody, because not all people are benevolent, and people are acting out based on their belief systems, the things that they believe about themselves. And because of what they believe about themselves, they then do things. They do the actions. So if somebody's thinking, why they do that? I don't understand. If they said that they loved me, how they can do that. It is directly connected to the embodied thoughts that they've been having about themselves for the last 60 to 90, at least the last 60 to 90 days, minimally. That's why. That's how we're all wired. We are always going to act out of our thoughts, out of our beliefs. Those embodied thoughts, that's the root. And we're going to root out some of the things. There's another scripture that's coming to mind that says that every tree that God did not plant, he has planned to root it out. And that tree, that belief system that has been giving you the fruit of pain, the fruit of indecision, the fruit of not trusting yourself, that's getting rooted out. We're going to do something called an EFT. It's an emotional freedom technique. You might know it as tapping. And it works exceptionally well because we're confronting the things first. What's not confronted is not changed. And so we're going to, I was a victim of toxic positivity. That led me into a path that I almost myself 4 different times. And I was stopped supernaturally all 4 times. So I understand pain, and I understand being in so much pain that you want to end it off and be in the process of it. And by the grace of God, I was stopped every single time before I made that mistake. And if that's you, know that you are loved, you are wanted, and this is not an accident that you're here. It's not an accident that you're here. For those of you who are in pain, kind of measure that pain between 1 and 10. And all I want you to do is just repeat after me and do what I'm doing. And it works really well. All these points are actually doing different things. For instance, we do something called a setup phrase, and it looks like a karate chop. And that causes psychological reversal. When we're hitting here, it's like worry and anxiety. So the different points do different things, and I'm not going to go through all of them now, but that's just 2 of them. So we confront, and then we're choosing to overcome, right? We're making a choice that we don't want this anymore. And then it's like creating a vacuum, and nature hates a vacuum, right? So then we're going to go and put in what we actually want, which is our freedom. So go ahead and gauge where you are from 1 to 10. And then you're just going to repeat after, okay? Today, I take responsibility for my life, which just means I have the ability to respond. And I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to carry around this pain, carry around this grief, have this be rent-free in my beautiful mind. I want to be free. I choose freedom. I deserve to be free. And I say yes to that. So it is. Take a breath. Boom. We're just gonna do the top of our head, like kind of like in the middle of your head, end of the eyebrows here. So we're just tapping, literally tap, tap, tap. Underneath your eyes, like at the crevice of your nose here. Collarbone, for the sake of camera, we're just gonna go here, the wrist, and then we're gonna start all over again. There are a few things that are coming up right now for me. Incidences that happen, circumstances, experiences. They weren't just unpleasant. They were downright hurtful, painful. And some days, it's so bad that it causes anxiety or worry or fear. It can come across as procrastination, mistrust of others, mistrust of myself. Like, how did I not see that coming? How can I have trusted that person? What's wrong with me? And the more I replay it, the stronger it gets. Of course it does. That's how I'm wired. That's how everyone is wired. The more I replay something, my mind does not know the difference between what I'm thinking about, what I'm replaying in my mind, and reality. Imagination is the commercial for my future. And every time I bring up the past, My brain thinks it's happening again. So actually, my actions, the way I feel about myself, nothing has gone wrong. You mean the way I feel, nothing has gone wrong? No, nothing has gone wrong. It goes circumstance, something happens, the filter of my belief system influences a thought. If I choose to dwell on that thought, it creates emotions that match. And then the emotions influence and direct the actions or non-actions. And then I have a result. But the results are not based on my actions. They were based on my thoughts. And I have a lot of thoughts about this situation. I have a lot of thoughts that cause the pain. But just like I had a lot of thoughts before, to be free, I can choose to take a new thought. Is it really that simple? That's how I got in there in the first place. Something happened and I took a thought about it. And it was such a strong emotional event that it changed and altered my belief system. This is gentler. So maybe it's not going to change my belief system overnight, but it is changing right now because I'm choosing. I'm using the act of my will to say enough. Yes, it was hurtful. Yes, it was unfair. Yes, it was unbelievable. But I can choose to not allow it to define me, to become part of my identity. I can choose that. I can choose a new reality for myself. And so right now, for my own mental health, for my own sake, I forgive that person, including myself and anyone else involved. Because the truth is, forgiveness sometimes can be seen as a selfish act. It just means I'm releasing them from their debt to me. Because really, they can't make it up to me. They can never make it up to me. Not really. Only God can. God restores time, hearts, souls, and bodies. So I choose that. I choose that reality. So I cast this away from me. And I forgive the person and everyone involved by choosing to love myself, by choosing to accept myself, by choosing to forgive myself. Because we're told to love our neighbors, yes, but as ourselves. So I need to love myself first. And this is an act of love. It's an act of loving myself when I choose to forgive and I release them. It does not mean restoration. It does not mean expectation that they're going to step up. It just means I'm choosing freedom. I choose to be free. So I take my power back and I choose to overcome these feelings. Now that I understand that my emotions are just there because of the thoughts, I'm feeding it. I've been feeding it. And that's why it's become worse. But I'm choosing now to starve it. That when the situation comes up again, I can come back to this video and do this again. Or I can just simply say, no, I've forgiven that. I've already released that. I will not entertain you. Is it really that simple? Yes, it really is. I just have to remember to do it. So maybe I have to save this video or write it on the post-it to remind myself I've chosen to release this. I've already decided. My feelings will catch up. The more I refuse to allow this to live rent-free in my head, the faster it will die away. This is not me being naive. This is me taking control of my life. I don't have to be bitter. I don't have to be resentful. I can choose forgiveness. I can choose grace. I can speak grace over myself and the situation that happened. And that's how I will fight back. When it comes up, I can even say something like, I speak grace over myself and everyone involved. I speak peace over myself and everyone involved. I speak love over myself and everyone involved, because words have power. And that's how everything happened. Words, the thoughts are just words. That's it. And those thoughts were believed, and eventually actions happened. And unfortunately, in that situation, I got hurt. But I can choose. I can choose to be as wise as a serpent and as gentle as a dove. I choose that. I choose the healthier version of me. I say yes to that. I say yes to a healthier mindset, because God did not give me a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a well-disciplined, sound mind. I also have the mind of Christ. How does God think of it? He forgives. He grants mercy. He grants grace. And so I will act like God here. I forgive myself. I speak grace over myself. I speak mercy over myself and everybody involved. And my feelings will come in line. My beliefs are changing even now. So I'm feeling better about myself. It's never for nothing when I love with no return. It's never for nothing. I will continue to light my candle in the darkness, because it's never for nothing. So I receive and activate peace, and I'm grateful for it. I receive and activate grace, and I'm grateful for it. I receive and activate mercy, and I am grateful for it. I am renewed right now, and so it is. Take a breath, hold, release. All right, my loves, that's what I have for you. And if you want more of this, and I invite you to check out the Society, which is my monthly membership. You get 24/7 asynchronous coaching, which means you can send me a text or go into the portal and I will answer you, because life doesn't wait. So why should you? I do that. And I also do a lot of other things with them, which includes meeting with them twice a month. And if you're watching this right now, there's a special going on and you're going to want to click it below. Until next time, which will be very, very soon. May God's riches and best be yours. I love you. And I'm so proud of you for being here for yourself and loving on yourself today, because you will prosper and be in health as your soul, your mind, will, and emotions prosper. And you're never going to go any further than how you see yourself. This was a beautiful act of self-love that you did. And I'm so, so proud of you for investing in yourself today. Oh, I forgot to say. How long should you do this? So it's like someone wants to ask, how long should you do this for? I mean, you can do it every single day for 21 days. 21 days is great because it's long enough to do something, but it's short enough for you to stick to it. And it helps you to create momentum. So it doesn't create a habit, but it does put you on the momentum. It takes over about 62 days to start creating the new neural pathways. So 62 days might seem like, oh, that's a lot. That's too many. I can't do that. And if you need help with that, join the society because they do extra coaching in there as well. Or if you're interested in one-on-one, let me know. But the society do a lot of that stuff as well. So if 62 days, because it takes 62 days at least, over 90 days as well, to start creating those neural pathways, right? It's a path. It's a pathway. It's leading you. It's leading you somewhere. So if that seems like too daunting, then this is why the 21-day cycle is amazing for that, because you can do anything for 21 days. And then you come back and you just go right to when I'm doing the EFT and just do it. Give yourself a little tracker, put it on your phone and remind yourself, like, this is my me time. This is my healing time. This is my mental health break. And I'm going to sow into myself. It didn't take that long. And I know that you feel a lot better. And I would love to hear from you. Let me know how you're feeling below. I answer all my comments. And again, I love you very much. May God's riches and best be yours. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.